Does your data include dates and times? If so, then you should really pay attention to this video because there are changes happening in Pandas 3 that affect how dates and times are stored and retrieved behind the scenes, and this could affect your analysis. Let's start off with talking about how dates and times are actually stored. And they're stored in something called a datetime64, which, as you can probably guess from the name, is a 64-bit value, a 64-bit integer. And that integer might measure seconds, typically since the epoch, meaning January 1st, 1970. That's how Unix does it, at least. We can also say that it's in microseconds. That means millionths of a second, and we represent that as US, not MS. MS would be milliseconds, which would be thousandths. So this is microseconds. And we can also say nanoseconds, which would be NS, meaning billionths of a second. Those are really tiny. And so we can tell the difference if we see date times 64 with an S between the square brackets, or date times 64 with a US between the square brackets, or a date times 64 with an NS between the square brackets. And you've probably seen this in Pandas before. Whenever you have a date times 64 value, it will always tell you what is the granularity of the measurement we're using for measuring the dates and times. What are we actually measuring when we're counting seconds, microseconds, or nanoseconds? This is changing in Pandas 3, because in Pandas 2, we always use nanoseconds unless we really explicitly ask for something else. But that's different from how Python, the Python language, does it, where it normally uses microseconds. And so in Pandas 3, we will now use microseconds by default, not nanoseconds. Not only does this put us in line with the Python language, but it means that we can handle a wider range of dates and times. Because if you imagine that we're counting microseconds, we're going to be constricted to a much smaller range of time. Microseconds will be able to do much, much more, although we won't be able to measure things quite as precisely. But that's okay. If I am a few nanoseconds late to my doctor's appointment, no one really minds. So how does this look? Well, if I say now equals, let's put in the date and time right now. So it's 2025 and it's 12:23. So it's December 23rd, 2025. It's just after 8 p.m. my time here. I'll say 59. And now I'm going to say PD2 date time. That is the standard function we use in the Pandas world to take a string and turn it into a datetime value. And I'm going to put now inside of parentheses. And look what I get back. I get back datetime64 NS, nanoseconds. What if I do this in Pandas 3? So I'm going to switch over to a Pandas 3 notebook. I'm going to do exactly the same thing, and look what I get. It says US microseconds, exactly what I mentioned earlier. So by default, now, if you try to convert a string into a date time value, you will get microseconds, you will not get nanoseconds. Now, what happens though? Here, right here in Pandas 2, it doesn't really matter that much. I'll say this is now 2 because I'm Marimo. What if I add 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? What is that going to change? And truth be told, it won't change anything because we're in the world of nanoseconds there. But if I do this in Pandas 3, look at this. Now we get nanoseconds because that's the only way to represent this. This means then that when you run PD2 datetime on a bunch of string values, they might give you microseconds and they might give you nanoseconds. It depends on what their values are. Now, you can always check. You can always say here something like t equals this, right? And then if I say t, that's the date time unit. And if I say t.unit, it'll tell me ns as opposed to telling me us. So I can find out what the unit is, but I have to do a bit more checking there. There's another issue that might come up because if I say here, let's do this here, I'm going to say t here, right? And now if I say t as type int, I can convert this into an integer, and that is fantastic. But what if I convert it in the other one to int? What if I say here t as type int? Well, actually, this is not going to make any difference because this is already in nanoseconds. I'm going to chop this off here. Oops, I'm just going to chop this off. I'm going to say now 2 equals. Let's just do this without, actually, I'll just copy this from here. Say this is now 2. And now I'm going to do this, and that's now in microseconds. And now if I say t.units microseconds, and now if I say t as type int, look at this. It's this number, and I'm going to go back to the other notebook, as opposed to this number. What is the difference between them? You tell me. That's right, it's a factor of 1,000. If you convert your microsecond date time to an integer, you will get 1,000 times fewer than if you do nanoseconds, or the other way around. I've got to think about that a little bit. All right. So first of all, very important to keep track of this because Pandas is going to be doing this for you. What happens if I load up a file? What if I say here, and I prepared some code just so I don't have to type it in real time for you. What if I load up one of my favorite files to analyze, taxi data? So I'm going to load this up here, and I say here parse dates, because parse dates is how we say, hey, I want you to parse these dates with PD2 datetime, and now I say df.head, and look at this, datetime64 with nanoseconds, as we might have expected. But if I go into Pandas 3 and I do this, you know what we're going to get? That's right, we're going to get microseconds. So when you use parse dates on the data, it's going to come in microseconds, not in nanoseconds now. There is a slight exception to this, which is kind of wild, which is if you don't use the default Pandas reader for CSV, if instead you use the PyArrow engine, PyArrow, which does not mean that you're storing data in PyArrow. It simply means you're making use of PyArrow's much faster CSV loader. Watch what happens now. Oops, PyArrow, it doesn't like this data. Oh, because I forgot a comma. And now look at this, datetime64S. It is measuring it in seconds. That's because by default, PyArrow actually uses seconds and not either microseconds or nanoseconds. I'm going to do exactly the same thing here. And now look at this. Once again, we will see seconds. So if you use the PyArrow engine to load up your CSV file and parse dates for you, which it will do automatically, actually you don't even need to say parse dates most of the time, it will stick to seconds as the granularity, not microseconds or nanoseconds. How much will this affect you? It depends what operations you are doing on dates and times. But if you're converting them to integers, or if you need to have a particular range of dates and times, this might either be very good news, or it might require that you go back and double check your code and recalculate things, multiplying or dividing by 1,000 as necessary. I hope this was useful and interesting and gets you prepped for Pandas 3. Let me know what questions and comments you have, and I'll be back real soon with lots more about Python and Pandas and everything in between. Thanks for watching.